Hello, I'm Kristen Lee, and I wanted to do my Romantasy Con wrap up, and I wanted to dress up for the part. Should I have done this for the con? Yes. Did I have a lot of this stuff at home? Yes. If I go again, would I dress up? Absolutely. However, I did not. So I felt that I should make it up to myself doing it now. For anybody that is curious what Romantasy is, it is a fantasy story, so with fae or fairies or vampires or whatever in that fantasy realm, and there's a romance that ensues, and that is considered Romantasy. There's different ways to talk about it, but we're not here for that. We're here for the experience of Romantasy. And the Romantasy Con in LA for 2025 was at the Biltmore Millennial Hotel, or Millennium Biltmore Hotel. I don't know. It's one of the historic hotels in downtown LA, and for good reason. So I found out some facts for you. It was built in 1923, so a lot of the golden look to it and whatever, if it reminds you of The Great Gatsby, that's because it was built in that time era. The statue for the coveted Oscar for the Academy Awards was supposedly doodled on a napkin at that hotel. In the 1930s, the Academy Awards was hosted there. There have been many celebrities throughout the beginning of Hollywood to now that have stayed there, that have done music videos, TV shows like Mad Men, Scandal, West Wing, ER, 24 have been filmed there. Movies like Ocean's 2, The Sting, Ghostbusters, Spider-Man, Rocky 3, The Italian Job, National Treasure, Independence Day, all have been filmed, like some part of it has been filmed there. And then it also inspired Disney's Tower of Terror. It used to be called the Twilight Zone Tower of Terror, but I don't know what it's called now. So it was the inspiration of that. So, and then the other thing is the Black Dahlia case began there. So if you're into ghost hunting and true crime and stuff like that, it had a lot of stuff that has happened allegedly through there. So it's a very cool, very unique hotel, and it's gorgeous. It just, I felt like a tourist. I really did. I just was enamored by how beautiful it was. Like, it just has this elegance theme to it, but you could definitely tell that different parts of the hotel have yet to either have a facelift or a renovation versus the parts that have. It is part of the historic part of LA, so I know that there are there's money being thrown into the works to have things fixed and rebuilt, but it has to meet a certain spec for it. I got my handy dandy notes. Okay, these are all the things that I think should be fixed, or not fixed, but like notes on it. But I'd rather talk about my experience for right now. So anyway, so I got there Thursday to meet Steph, and we you saw, well, if you watched my wrap up, you heard about the saga of me not knowing about whether or not my name had been switched to the room and if that was all set. everything worked out great. I met Steph there, I want to say within a half hour of her getting there, maybe an hour, because traffic from here to LA, even though it's only, I think, 40 miles, if that, it takes about an hour and a half, 2 hours to get there, especially during traffic when people are all trying to get in for 9 o'clock or 9:30. So, but we got there. I we didn't know whether or not we could get into the hotel, so we were planning on leaving our stuff at the bellhop, and then we got into our room. I didn't do a room tour because I was just, oh my God, this is really happening, you know. I talked to Steph and April, and I know stories about their lives and stuff, so it was really cool to meet them in person. So a lot of the time this weekend, I got clips, but I didn't think like a YouTuber or a creator. I thought like if I was going to a concert or a theme park for the first time, and I was just having an experience. So we were able to go to our room, and then we had a couple hours before April was coming with her sister, and also to meet up with her roommate for the first 2 nights of her stay. Uh-oh, I have a sneeze. Hold on. God bless me. Anyway, so we're like, okay, well, what are we gonna do? So there is a store called The Last Bookstore. I'm gonna do a review of it and, you know, my vlog of it on my book channel. But the thing for me is I knew that I was not in the heart of Skid Row, but I was close. And I did not want to be going down the wrong path, because the homeless situation, it isn't as bad as you get to Santa Monica and different parts of LA, especially since they got the tiny homes up. But it's still prevalent, and it's still, you know, you have to watch your person, you gotta, you know. And I was also in tourist mode, so I'm like looking up, and it was so wild to see these storefronts that have been through it, and then these huge buildings. It was so wild. And I've been to like New York City and things like that, but it was a different experience. We went to The Last Bookstore, and it had security as you went through, and I was like, okay, maybe this isn't what it is, you know, because you walk through and it looked like a musty used bookstore. But the beauty of the bookstore was on the second shelf, second level. So you go up the stairs, and there was this beautiful labyrinth of books, and there was a coffee shop, and a whole bunch of stuff. So that was super cool. And then I had the genius idea, because I was starting to get hungry, and Steph's like, I could eat. And I was like, okay. So it said on my app that it wasn't that far away to go to like a food court. And there was like a mall that had a Target to it. So I was like, well, why don't we go to the food court, see what we can eat, and then go to Target and we'll get essentials like soda, water, that kind of stuff. And then it's not that far from the hotel. And it was a great idea. And I got, oh my God, hold on, I gotta show you what I got. Okay, so I found Tiger from The American Tail. I want to get the other ones too. I want to get Papa and Tanya and Fievel. But this was one of my favorite movies growing up, and he was my favorite character, and then I loved Fievel on top of it. But anyway, found him. They had a huge book selection, and I had even thought about buying some of my books there, because I knew there was a bookstore there, but I didn't understand the assignment kind of thing with the bookstore. So I was like, I don't know, and I don't really want to carry books, you know. I wasn't ready for that experience yet. And I knew I was going to get soda. And then I also had the great idea to get room spray because I get travel belly. I don't know about everybody else. I wasn't sure about Steph, but my tummy all of a sudden will grumble, and then I'm sorry. Like, it is what it is. So we got room spray for that. And like I said, it was a great idea until like 2 to 3 blocks from the hotel. And our arms were just like, I don't want to walk anymore. So then April got there and we went up to meet her. Her roommate Carrie, for the con, she got there. We went to dinner. I think we got Chipotle the first night. I don't know. And then my experience, I was around all these alpha females and my uterus was like, hey, let's party. So that was an experience for me. I got my period and I was like, oh man. But anyway, so yeah, so the first day was just exploring. We kind of got to see the LA library. Oh god, it's gorgeous. It is 8 floors. There are all these specs that I did not do research on. There's this huge, like, I think it's called a rotunda, or but it's gorgeous, and it's such a beautiful room. And then the kids area was beautiful, and Steph and I went off on our own, I think the next day on Friday, because we didn't have a lot of author signings or anything like that to go to. So we went to the library and we went on an expedition to find our favorite authors in the stacks, and that was fun. And they even had a list for us to look up, you know, different people and whatever. So that was really cool. There was this engineer electronic room where they had laser printers and 3D printers and an embroidery machine and a sewing stations and a green room, a sound room if you wanted to do, you know, voice work. There was a space that you could do your YouTube videos, or if you were a gamer or whatever. It was such a cool room, and it's all for free. It was so cool. And I got my card, my library card. I was super stoked about that. So I did that on Friday. Saturday was, and then we went to a brewery that evening. Oh, and we went to Chinese food. Google Maps was not helpful at all. It wanted me to go into this like shady, sketchy subway area, and we went down the first flight of steps and we're like, no. So we went back out because I wanted Chinese food. I don't get Chinese food where I'm at because I haven't found a place that isn't basically like Sam's Club or Costco, you know, and you just, it's not what I'm used to from back east. So, which is weird because a lot of American Chinese food came from California. So I don't know. Anyway, so we were walking around and this one place smelled amazing and it looked nice. So we went in to like peek and we decided to go in there. It was fantastic. The dumplings were fantastic. It was an awesome experience. And then we went to the brewery with our friends that evening. And it was a great time. You know, we got to hang out and we explored the bookstore area and we got to explore different things together. And Saturday, like I said, was a lot of book signings. We went to a panel where it was all about narrators and voice actors, and that was super cool. Like, I love behind the scenes anything, so to hear how they experience things that you don't think of, like my sniffing, or like clothing, or my earrings making a clinking sound. Engineers, when they're doing the playback to make the final product, will send it back to the narrator and be like, hey, you know, this is too loud, or you messed up this word, or whatever. So that, it was fascinating. I loved it. What did we do for dinner? Oh, we went to a Irish pub, which was my request, because I love going to Irish pubs when I'm out. There's a song called the Irish Pub Song, and it's about, no matter where you are, there's always going to be an Irish pub, and it's the same no matter where you go. And there's always a story to it and whatever. It was okay. Like, I loved my food and I loved my drink. I got a drink called Between the Sheets. I felt that it was, you know, something that worked with what I was going to. It was fantastic. Yeah, and the ladies loved they got cheese fries or something like that, and they said it was fantastic. And then Saturday night we moved rooms, which I gotta insert the story about how I lost my Chris Evans blanket. But give me 1 second. Okay, Chris Evans blanket. So, Deb C and I exchanged gifts. I want to say the first year that we knew each other. And I made sure that she had her dream men that she could sleep with, and hers is Paul Rudd and Andrew Garfield. And she gifted me a Chris Evans blanket, which is white on one side and then plastered with his face on the other. And he's gone a lot of places with me since I've met Deb C. So, like, he went on the cruise with me. He went to New Orleans with me. Both times he's been back and forth to New York. He's been to Legoland. Like, he's gone places. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna call and see if, like, there was a mistake and it's in Lost and Found. So I called housekeeping, and I get to the part where I have to explain what it is and what, you know, that it's a blanket, but what is on it. The ladies lost it. I thought one of them was gonna pee. Like, they lost it. So I had to make the phone call 3 times, and I put it on Discord and Instagram, because I'm like, okay, maybe it did drop, because I was going from the 5th floor to the 8th floor. Maybe it did drop. I don't know. But the best was on Discord when I put it on there. Some lady was like, girl, I get it. I have a Chris Evans pillow and I would be devastated. I was like, shut up. Like, I was gonna replace it. Like, it is what it, like, when you travel, things happen. I wasn't that upset about it, but it was getting a little like, okay, I'm missing this thing. This is what it is. So I posted into the Vloggerino group. I was like, Chris Evans has left us. Like, you know, somebody took him. And Deb C was like, I'm on it. So when I came home, I had a new Chris Evans blanket. Bigger and better. And it even has, like, him with his glasses. Can you see it? I love it. He's going to the Philippines. Hopefully nobody takes him. So that was the Chris Evans blanket. So, but it was a funny part of our trip. So I felt that I should insert that part of the story there. And then Sunday, we checked out, and I think the guy's name was Carlos. Whoever packed the car, like helped pack the car, came in clutch, because April's like, do you want to go with us? We're going to go exploring a little bit. We're going to go to the Ripped Bodice actual bookstore before we head home, because she lives in Northern California. Northern California. And then she was kind enough to drive Steph to well, Amy drove, but they both took time out of their day to bring Steph to the airport and then drive me home. So that was above and beyond, and I appreciated it so much, because originally what we were going to do is Steph and I were going to leave our stuff with the bellhop, and then we were going to explore throughout the day, and then she was going to take an Uber to her flight, and then I was going to wait for my dad, because I don't do freeways. But it was more fun the way we did it. We ended up going to Santa Monica Pier. There was a Pokemon Go thing. Apparently Steph had a Pokemon in her butt, because this guy had 2 phones and was like this right next to her. And she's like, God, I kept moving. And I was like, well, he had 2 phones. She was like, yeah, but was the Pokemon in my butt? Like, and I was like, no. But we walked the pier. And then by the time we were done, and I needed coffee and to go potty, and then we went to the Ripped Bodice, and that bookstore is awesome. It's all romance, and it has everything from historical romance to fantasy romance to dark romance to erotica to, the Emily Henry and, the happier romance, like the rom-com kind of romance. It was such a pretty store, and it was so fun. And then we dropped off Steph, and then they drove me home. And that was my weekend, and it was awesome. And I cannot wait to have another adventure with those ladies. I thought they were top-notch people. I had so much fun. I did crash hard, though, because here's my notes about the Romantasy and just the Biltmore in general. One of the things, if you click on these videos or Instagram or whatever, if you decide to do some research on your own, oh my gosh, the stairs are going to be the top complaint. No one warned us. We were told that we could bring book carts. So basically they're like the old milk cart kind of shape to it, but it has wheels. The MVPs of this con, I think, go to the partners of the women that lugged all their crap up and down those stairs. The husbands, the book boyfriends, well, not the book boyfriends, but the boyfriends. I don't know if they were brothers, I don't know, significant others, their wives, whatever. Whoever lugged their crap up and down the stairs. And I was in people watching heaven. Like, because you could tell, like, the husbands that got dragged there, like, it's my birthday and you're coming and you're gonna help me bring the books because I want to meet these authors and I want to do this, and I never ask for anything. Like, that conversation had to happen before that husband lugged that crap. Like, you could tell on their face. And then there were these happy-go-lucky guys that looked like little puppy dogs, like, okay, we're going upstairs again, okay, we're going back downstairs, where do you want to go? Like, it was so cute. And then, it was a lot. And, I don't know. Like, it just, no one warned us of that being a thing. So a lot of people that, especially locals, that brought book carts and things like that, they brought their books from home. So, some people had 20 to 30 books, maybe more. and they're lugging them up and down the stairs. There were some cool ones where there was like 3 wheels that Steph showed me, and it kind of like turned so it could do the stairs. That was kind of cool. So that's gonna be the top complaint. My thing was it's very close to Skid Row, so and I just didn't want to be that person that went down the wrong way because of the homeless population and just not knowing where I was, because we still have a really bad drug problem in LA, and not that the homeless population is affected by it, and they get sick, they go potty, they do all the things just in the street. So if you've never traveled or you've never seen that before, it's culture shock, and you have to know not to engage with the homeless population. However, one guy got me freaking he came up to the group of us. He goes, y'all have family, or like your daddy or your mommy was, or how did he say it? Do you all got family that were boxers or something? Like, you got family that work in boxing? And we're like, what? He goes, because you all are knockouts. I was like, what? He was a gem. He was funny. And he kept his space and everything. He wasn't like other interactions that I've had in the past where you're like, I'm going to be a podcast. I'm going to, if I say the wrong thing and if I freak out, I'm going to be a podcast. So that was another thing for me. The other thing that was really confusing was there were stations throughout the day where there was food and drinks set up, and there was like money boxes, so it looked like the hotel had provided coffee and like quick breakfast type stuff, like muffins, croissants, and things like that, but it wasn't on the flyer that you got coming in, and it wasn't addressed throughout the entire weekend. Whether it was part of the Biltmore and it was just something that was quick and easy for people that had other things to do, or if it was for the event itself, and how much it was. There wasn't any pricing. So that was an issue. There is this beautiful place, the restaurant that's attached to the hotel has afternoon tea on Saturdays and Sundays, but it is $125 ticket for the experience, and there's a dress code. And we weren't about that life. Like, I love going to afternoon tea. I've gone with friends. I think it is just super fun, and I feel like I'm in Alice in Wonderland kind of vibes. But I didn't want to spend the $125 to have afternoon tea, but it is something that's there. I thought the pool was really tiny, and with the amount of bodies that were going to be in it, my germaphobe self was like, I'll pass. Like, usually I like to at least go into the pools of a hotel that I'm paying for at least once, because it's an amenity that I have. Like, I want to use it, but it was really tiny. It did have like changing areas and things like that, which was kind of nice, but it wasn't something that I really wanted to do. But I did bring towels and a bathing suit just in case Steph was like, yeah, let's go. Oh, that was the other thing. The amenities. So when I read it on the website, I didn't think that there were refrigerators in the rooms. Or I would have brought said soda from before with me. Like, I wouldn't have gone on an adventure to get soda. I would have brought it with me. But I didn't know that we had a mini fridge. I didn't know that was another thing with our first room. We didn't have a remote for the first night and a half, I think. And then trying to figure it out. But anyway, uh yeah, I had to call room service for a fork and a remote one night. But yeah, we didn't know that there were mini fridges available. And then the ice machine, and there was a microwave with the ice machines, but they were every other floor. And then there were vending machines on every other floor. But that isn't anywhere that I remember reading about the hotel at all. So I did not know that I could have made Easy Mac or something, you know what I mean? So that was not explained. And I was just like, well, good to know if I ever come back, you know. Parking got filled quick. And anybody that was coming for just one day, authors included, it just didn't happen. Like they missed out. There were people that decided not to go, or there was, how did they do alternate parking? I don't remember where they told people to go park, whether or not it was the library's parking lot or something, some other place that was closer. But yeah, the parking situation was bananas. ADA issues. They came up with some really great ideas for people that were in wheelchairs or needed accessibility help. Like I said, there was a lot of stairs. They had ADA lifts and elevators, but there were a few ladies that got stuck, in the elevator, and they got a little scared from that. But they were with a Biltmore employee, I think, because they're the ones that had to push the buttons and things like that. So the Biltmore was aware of when these things happened. And then the other thing is like how the foot traffic, you know, because you had book carts, you had lines for authors, you had lines for panels, and then the vendors were all the way in the basement. So foot traffic was tough to maneuver in and out of things. But that, I think, is a problem no matter what event you're going to, whether it's at a theme park, if it's at a concert. That's always an issue at different venues. I just hope that it's more helpful in the future for this type of event. The ticketed authors were all over the place. Some of them didn't know where they were going because the volunteers didn't know where they were going. And they, some of them were just like not attended to. Like it was just a room with a table and it looked like a storage room, and that they just opened up for that author. And I feel if you're a ticketed author and I had to wait in line for them, they should have been not prestigious, but big enough to be attended to. The volunteers were fantastic all across the board, at least in my experience. Steph had a different experience her last day. But other than the volunteers they didn't have walkie-talkies or anything like that, so everything was done either through the Discord or through text. So being on top of things, they were able to fix it fast enough, but not all the time did they know what was going on. The creators of the event were all over the place. I love the fact that they were hands-on with the event. They were there to answer questions with the hotel, with, different tiers of people. There was a hiccup when we went to go get our tickets because they were trying to accommodate anybody that had higher tiers. So when you go to events, like if you go to a concert, there's VIPs and there's different packages you can buy. With this one, there were different tiers, and we had the lowest tier, and they didn't know where our lanyards were in the beginning. So, but they found it, and it worked out fine. Everything was great. And like I said, the volunteers did a great job, considering it was the first time that it was done. Like, I think it's Fantasy Fabled Events. I think it was their first year hosting Romantasy Con events, and they did it East Coast in Orlando. I think that was the first one, and then we were the second. So they're still in their baby steps, but overall, I think they did a great job. Yeah, I there are other things that, like, bookish wise, that I'll probably talk about on my book channel, but I loved it, and I do want to go to other ones. I don't know if I will go next year, because I have plans with friends to go to New Orleans for a dark romance thing, and so I'm excited for that. But I would go with this company again if they hosted something else. So that was my experience. I bought these earrings from a vendor. Oh, that was another thing. It's over there. But I made goodie bags, and we handed out goodie bags and traded throughout the con. And that was kind of cool. I loved making friends with the authors and the vendors and whatever, and handing out stuff and learning about different things. So that was fun. But yeah, overall, it was awesome thing. So if you want to go, I highly recommend it. Hope your coffee is strong, and you got your sneaks on, because those stairs are a thing. I know with the book carts, they have an idea of, like, you know, when you go to theme parks, sometimes there's like a stroller drop off, and you leave your stroller there so that you can do other things. They're going to do that with the book carts. We'll see how it goes. I'm curious how it's going to go, because I'm going to stay connected with the company on Instagram. I got out of the Discord. The Discord's a hot mess. But long story long, I would go. If you're into it, you should go, and I hope you're having a great day and a great week. And thanks again to My Kind of Stuff. Happily ever April. God, what's Carrie's? It's Booked for Romance, I think, is hers. And I don't know if Amy is joining BookTube or not, but thank you to all of those ladies, and for an awesome weekend, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.